All right, now we're going to talk about the actual operation of the machine, and there's some safety habits and safety steps that we take before we put this machine in motion. So Matt's going to take us through that process, and that begins with what, Matt?
EHC policy is to do a 360 walk around before you enter the vehicle. Make sure you're safe in the surroundings and other operators or employees or anyone on the job site from other companies. So you want to do your walk around 360, visually inspect your surroundings, let anyone know around you I'm fixing to enter the vehicle, and move it.
So again, you're looking at hazards maybe right around you, and especially people, right? You're trying to get people to stay clear. You're getting ready to move this big machine.
It's in the morning. There'll be other machines parked near you at the staging area. There'll be other operators doing the same thing. So you need to coordinate and let the other operators know, hey, I'm going now, or you go ahead and go first. I'm getting in mine. If you're not done, if you're still greasing or checking out, you need to be aware of others and communicate so there's not an accident. They're all close proximity. There's fuel tanks, there's bathrooms, vehicles. Be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, everybody's starting up generally at the same time in the morning, so there's people on the ground, there's equipment starting to move, so it's critical that the operator is communicating this to everybody that he's getting ready to move this machine.
We're getting ready to move this vehicle. You want to use your 3 points of contact at all times.
To use ladders safely, always maintain 3 points of contact. That means 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet and 1 hand on the ladder at all times. Put both hands firmly on the handrails before stepping onto the ladder. Break 3-point contact only when you reach the ground or a stable platform.
All right, Matt, so you're in the machine now. What's the first thing you do when you get in your seat of your machine as an operator?
Put your safety belt on.
Don't forget your safety belt.
You want to start the ignition, or turn the machine on. These machines have codes. Press your brake pedal. Start the ignition. Want to check your mirrors, make sure they haven't moved, make sure they're where you want them.
All right, so we're in the machine now, and Matt's going to take us through some of the gauges and things to know about on this particular machine. Again, this is John Deere EndDump, and you may have a little bit different dashboard look with a Volvo or Bell or Komatsu, whatever other kind of EndDumps you might be operating, but they should have similar features. They just may be in different places, and you go about it a little bit different. One of the things I was going to ask Matt about is the parking brake. So Matt, why don't you start with the parking brake and take us through some of the other controls here.
This is your parking brake. It's lit up red. It means the parking brake's engaged. You'll see on the instrument panel it's lit up, telling you it's engaged. Once you've released the parking brake, you'll choose forward or reverse, select a gear. If you run in automatic, it'll choose the gear for you that you're going to run in, or you can lock it down in different terrain to only stay in the gear you want. This is your instrument panel, water temperature, transmission temperature, RPMs, speedometer, your gear selector indicator, fan, inside fan, AC, heat, fuel gauge, def gauge. These machines have def systems on it. You need to monitor that. Do not let it run low. It will cause damage to the motor and the def system.
What happens when the machine goes into regen mode? What do you, how do you know it's going into regen mode, and what are you supposed to do as an operator?
This particular machine will indicate with a light that it's in regen mode. It doesn't need to be stopped. It will regen while continuously operating. Some machines need to do a part regen cleaning. It'll indicate to stop. Your foreman will tell you if you're not familiar with that machine. He'll bring that to your attention. You do not want to override override the regen. If it goes into regen and it's telling you to stop, this instrument panel will flash a code or a message if there's something wrong with the machine to letting you know to stop or call a mechanic. Some of them are linked into our office and to the dealers that will send messages to them letting them know the machine is in need of attention or something's wrong with the diagnostics or the computer. So you do not want to override them. You let it do its job. And this is your dump body control.
Okay.
You're going to pull it back. Before you dump, you always want to look around, make sure you're clear to dump. If you've been dumping at a site, be aware of overhead power lines. If you're dumping down the road, continuously heading towards them, you always want to be aware you're getting closer. If you're dumping next to them, you want to be aware of the bed tilting or leaning, or even as you're traveling. The machine, they're very large machines again, so be aware of the way it rides. So you pull it back to dump the bed, all the way up to dump. Middle is hold in case an operator wants you to spread the material. Then you push it back down. Once you're done, it'll lower the bed automatically. Indicator or load counter on the instrument panel. We keep track of our loads. At the end of the day, you give your foreman a tally so we know how much material we moved. Now we've gone through all that, we're comfortable. We're going to hit our horn again 3 times, wait 3 seconds. We're checking our mirrors, aware of our surroundings, looking around, making sure nobody's coming behind us, nobody's in front of us. We feel safe to go on and move. Pressure brake, we'll release the parking brake. And we're heading into the lake. It's our loading site.
So Matt, stop right here at the top of this little berm here and let's talk about entering the excavation zone. As an EndDump operator, how do you know what to do when you get into an excavation site like this?
If you've been familiar with it, you'll have a routine that's been going on. You can see we've been continuously digging this lake. We come in empty, you make a loop, you get loaded, and you run out. You want to be the most efficient as you can with these trucks. You want to almost be like an assembly line. You're coming in, getting loaded, and a continuous flow driving out. You want to try to stay out of a situation of turning around, having to back up. You can see it's getting narrow, so sometimes you may have to, but for the most part, you want to be smooth and continuously one motion, in and out. So you'll run empty, you'll run to the machine, get loaded, and you'll run back out. This lake has 1 entry, 1 exit right now. Sometimes they have 2. It just all depends. Different situations, you have to adapt to them, but there's a general rule that we try to follow to go by. Each job site is a little different, has different conditions. That's why you need to adapt and always be aware of changing conditions.
So we can see our excavator operator is loading another EndDump ahead of us.
Again, as the conditions change, you need to adapt.
So he's loading on the side of the EndDump.
You never want to pull up. You never want to load over the cab. You want to keep eye contact as you pull in with the other operator, the backhoe operator, so you can see and be aware of your surroundings. You'll see when he's loaded, when it's time for you to pull up. If the operator told the other truck, if they changed something a little different, you'll notice that. You'll be able to pick up on it. You can adapt and change. Always keep an awareness of what's going on around you at all times. Conditions may change as you're pulling up. We're driving around this edge, and you see it might slough off. The bank might cave off a little bit. We're continuously digging. You don't want to get too close to it. You want to prepare yourself to make a nice turn in. You don't want to get too close to where you have to back up or get too close to the edge.
So a little planning, you want to make sure that you're going forward. It's always safer to go in forward than it is the reverse, right?
Yes. You'll see the ruts from where you've been running. You'll kind of stay in the same tracks. You want to stop. The backhoe's moving to the cut. material, 2 beeps for another material. Different materials, maybe going to different locations.
So those kind of things you discuss in your morning meetings, or how does an EndDump operator know about the beeps? And
in the morning, you'll start out with a plan. Plans may change, conditions change. As you're moving, we move a lot of materials, so you won't be dumping the same area. It changes from site work to road work will change. You communicate and be aware with the operator. He's wanting you to pull up. You made eye contact, you blew the horn, 1 beep, you're stopping. You're where he wants you to be. You come over here, you're always keeping awareness and eye contact with him as much as you can. It'll become a routine. The dozer operator at the dump site, he will instruct you. If there's a change, he will let you know. Try to have radios in the trucks with the operators on the dozer.
so how do you know when you're full?
He'll beat the horn.
So the excavator operator kind of decides where he wants you, and he also tells you when he's filled up your truck, right?
Yep. Say you want to get with the operator. Sometimes 1 beep means shell, rock material. 2 beeps will mean sand. If there's a third material, there may be 3 beeps. All conditions will change. You have to adapt to each condition. Always being aware of safety and your surroundings around you.
By the way, in case anybody was wondering, I'm sitting in a trainer's chair next to Matt here, and I did buckle my seatbelt before we got into motion.
He did.
You can go back and listen for the click. There's bonus points on the quiz if you tell us what minute and second the seatbelt clicked.
Your operator's beep, you're loaded. Taking off, you're looking, you see the other end dump, he's already dumped, he's coming in.
So how would you rate this terrain right here that we're going over? It just rained earlier today, rained a bit yesterday.
It's good, the rain helped the sand, it tightened it up. You want to give the end dump coming in, give him room. He's coming in, y'all decided he had the right of way, he's coming in. You're going out. He had different material. He went straight out and came back in. You know, because you're hauling a different material, where you're going. You're taking another route. Like we said earlier, in awareness and surroundings, you see the silt fence. You've been hauling this route, you know there's a structure there. You don't need to be getting close to it. You don't want to crowd it.
Looks like we have a little swale over here on the left side too.
Yep. Going through 2 pipe crossings. You can see there's not cover. They've only backfilled up to the top of the pipe because we need stabilized material on top. We do not want to drive over the pipes with these trucks.
And you can feel the machine moving a little bit with the weight of the load back there. As it hits the softer spots, it does move a little bit. So you need to be aware of that kind of movement and how close you get to certain things. You don't want to get close to a drop-off. You don't want to get close to a pipe that's just been installed.
This material's all been laid out. It's wet, it's drying. You remember that, you're aware of that because you hauled it. So if you know that material's wet, you don't want to take a loaded haul truck off in there. Chances are you're going to get stuck.
Now how do you decide where you're going to dump?
The process of where we're filling, dozer man, it's a continuation of what you've been doing. You keep coming down the line. Pull up, you want to get straight. Brakes. back up. Being aware of your surroundings, checking your mirrors. Hear the dozer man beep, hit neutral. Engage the dump.
So it's dumping right now. Now, if you're a EndDump operator and we just started after lunch here and you're not sure exactly where to dump, you think you know, but you're not sure, should you just go ahead and make that decision and dump where you want to, or what would you recommend to the EndDump operator?
Before you leave for lunch, you should have a plan of what the afternoon is going to be. Dump, pull forward, lower the bed. If it changes, you're going to pick a spot, safely stop, get the attention of the foreman or the operator, and find out exactly where they want you. If you've already set the plan in motion before you went to lunch, you should be all right. But if you're not sure, wait and get someone. You don't want to dump in the wrong place.
Never be afraid to ask.
It's easier to ask and find out than do wrong and then find yourself in a situation nobody likes.
Yeah, we all work as a team out here, and we expect everybody's knowing what they're doing. So if you're not sure of what you should be doing, you need to be asking.
Awareness is the key. The more aware you can stay of your surroundings and what's going on and be a part of it, the easier it'll be, the more consistent you'll be. Like Tony said, we're a team, so we should all work together. It'll go a lot smoother. The other end dump is loaded. Now he's coming, you're empty. You have an area to pull over, let him go by. Keeping a safe distance between you guys. You're aware the machine will travel. He's loaded, his machine's going to travel more and sway more over the terrain. We'll give him plenty of room. You don't want to be so close that if he hits a hole or you know the road, you know the soft spots, you've been aware of them, so you'll know where the machine is likely to move. Try not to catch each other in a bad spot. Be aware, look to see what's coming up. You don't want to get caught in a situation where the pipes, or you're going to make one of you guys put each other in a bad spot. You don't want to do that. You want to be aware and keep the team safe and efficient.
It seems to make sense too that if possible, the unloaded truck should be the one that moves out of the way and
Yes.
gives the right of way to the loaded truck. He's loaded, he's can't maneuver quite as easily as a unloaded truck.
He's moving, he's rolling. It takes less for you to get going again, empty than it does him.
So that load can be top heavy.
Oh yeah, you're hauling, 40 plus tons of material. It's way top heavy. It swings, moves around. As you're coming in, if you're dumping, maybe you're dumping in a slope, you're building a slope or something, you want to always drive up and down, straight up and down the slope, or back and straight down the slope. You never want to back off at an angle with a weighted load. Be aware not to slide into it. The loading side may be wet.
Communication, how we communicate with each other. We talked a little bit about it with the blowing the horn from the excavator operator and blowing the horn before you start this machine in motion. 2 horns for one material, 1 horn for a different material from the excavator operator. There's a number of different ways that we communicate with each other, so we're going to talk a bit more about that. And of course, safety communication is going to be big. How about fire extinguishers and other safety features that we should be aware of that the EndDump might have, and where those are located, and things that we need to look for?
There's hazard lights. You got your horn. Each horn is different in different areas. You have a strobe light. You have a fire extinguisher to the right of you, bolted right next to the seat. Pull the latch if you need it, God forbid. seat belt, light adjustments. There's fire extinguishers at the fuel tank. There's fire extinguishers in the foreman's truck. Say we're at the end of our day, we're at the end of our shift, we're coming up to the staging area, we have our fuel tanks. You want to pull up, safe distance, you know how far about your hose will pull. You want to stop, neutral, engage your park brake. Get out, you fuel the machine, check it out, do another post-shift inspection, walk around. If there's anything that needs to be brought to the attention for the next day, now's the time to do it. It's still fresh in everybody's mind. Everyone's here. At the end of the day, you're getting fuel, you're starting to grease. Everyone's machine, there's a bunch of eyes around. If you see something on another machine, just don't walk around. Look, be aware. Look at what you're looking at. You can help the other operators. They can help you. That's the time to do it. It's a team effort. It should be treated as